Hi everyone, welcome back to the forest. Before we get started with today's video, I want to announce the winner of the Our Magnificent Planet book giveaway that I discussed in a video a couple of weeks ago. So 10 of you have entered to win, and I've put everyone's name on a piece of paper here, just assigned the number 1 through 10 to each person's name, and then I'm going to just ask Siri to pick a number between 1 through 10, and then we'll announce it. That's how we'll pick it. So anyway, let's see if Siri works here in the forest. Hey Siri, pick a number between 1 and 10.
A random number between 1 and 10 is 1.
Okay, number 1. So number 1 is Matthew Thompson. Matthew Thompson, congratulations. You're the winner of the Our Magnificent Planet book giveaway. And I will let this video go for a few days to hopefully you'll get to see this on your own. And then I will contact you via email and we'll arrange for shipping. So thanks so much to everyone who entered to win this book. I still encourage you to go and check this book out and get a copy for yourself. It's a wonderful source of inspiration for photographers. And with all that, let's get started with today's video. I hope you enjoy it. So I'm back in Long Canyon again today, and I have a couple different pictures that I'm planning to work on, but it's a little bit later in the day when that'll happen. The light needs to move a little bit. So while I'm waiting for that, those conditions to happen, I decided to scout around and see what else I could find here. And I stumbled across an interesting scene. It's a couple of bushes on the ground that have sort of that transitional color between the green and the yellow, which is pretty interesting. And then I'm looking up a cliff, and it's got nice canyon varnish and some curving shapes to it. So I thought I'd set up and work on that. So I'm using a 90mm lens on my 4x5 view camera here, and I'm using a couple different camera movements. First of all, I've raised the lens relative to the film plane, and that's so that the camera can look up without pointing up as much. When you point the camera up, any kind of vertical lines will converge, and I'm tilting up so much there's no way to avoid that, but by raising the lens as much as I could, I'll minimize that a little bit. The other thing I'm doing is doing some front tilt, which is just to align the plane of focus between the bushes that are nearer on the ground and the far cliff at the top. And so again, that just aligns that plane of focus so I don't have to stop down quite as much to get it all in focus. Oh, and also I have the lens shade on there because the sky is really just right above, just outside the frame. I don't want any flare to get on the lens, so I just put that little shade blocker up there to keep that from happening. This is a pretty neat little picture, and I exposed just one sheet of Velvia and one sheet of Provia, and we'll see how it turns out. But anyway, now it's time to pack up and I think head to the first of the 2 pictures that I had in mind today, and we'll see if the light is right to take that picture. One thing I'm hoping that happens is I hope I get some of the reflected blue sky up in this canyon varnish. I just hope it really turns pretty blue, and so you get that nice color contrast. I actually put a polarizer on and looked through it, but it eliminates that blue color, and I really want that. So hopefully the film's going to pick that up and accentuate it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing if that happens. Here are the 2 sheets I exposed on that subject. The Velvia 50 exposure was fogged by the lab, like some previous sheets, but it's usable. It's also a little darker than I'd like. I'm a bit surprised by the pronounced fall-off around the edges. Neither sheet has the nice blue that I'd hoped for in the canyon varnish. Overall, I guess I'm not that happy with these and don't think I'll take them any further. So here's one of the pictures that I shot last year that I wanted to try again this year. Last year I lined up the main trunk right in that sort of crevice that you can see there. And at the time I thought it was kind of clever, it was lining those things up. But later, looking at the picture, I think that the trunk kind of disappears in that crevice and it doesn't stand out as much as I'd like it to. Now, if you examine it really closely, you know, a big print or looking up close, you can see what's going on just fine. But kind of in a smaller picture or standing back, that trunk kind of disappears, and I really wanted it to be prominent. So I thought, what happens if I move the camera over so that that main trunk is now highlighted in the brighter part of the canyon wall. So that's what I just did, and so now let me move the camera over here and show you what it looks like that way. Hopefully. Okay, so now, I don't know if you can tell, but now that main trunk is separated a little bit from that sort of cleft in the rock, and hopefully it stands out a little bit better and shows up more and is a little more prominent, and it's kind of more important part of the story because it's sort of all part of that tree rather than it sort of disappearing in the cleft of the rock. As usual, I've exposed both Provia and Velvia, and eager to see if it glows just like it did last year, and you know, if the picture looks a little better now. So I did use some lens rise again because I'm tilting the camera up so much. I raised the lens, which allows me to look up without tilting up as much, trying to keep as much as possible those canyon varnish lines parallel rather than converging, which they would do if I was pointing the camera up too much. Now it's time to pack up and head on up canyon a little bit further and try one more picture that I have in mind for today. The light ought to be getting just about right when I get there. This sheet of Velvia 50 was also fogged by the lab, but it's just around the edges and very usable. I think I got just about the same framing as last year. But now I have that tree trunk farther left into the alcove rather than lined up in that dark crevice, so it shows up much better. I wanted to keep it mostly inside that alcove so it's more prominent. And this year we have berries on the tree that I didn't have last year, which is kind of interesting. I was later last year and the berries must have fallen off. Overall, I'm very happy with the results of this reshoot. So here's a little scene that I found yesterday and wanted to come back today and shoot it with film. I really think this is a neat little tree, and a couple little cracks there, one bigger, one smaller, a juxtaposition between the two. It just seems pretty special. One thing about coming to these desert environments is finding like a solitary tree growing in an improbable place. Kind of tells a story of, you know, survival and perseverance, and that's kind of a neat thing to tell here. So I really like this picture. I tried it a bunch of different ways, some with a little sunlight, little glancing light, some in the complete shade like this. I used my 300 millimeter and my 450 just to get different views on it. And so, you know, I'll show you which one I ended up with, or maybe show you several, but I think this is a pretty neat picture, and I'm really happy to have found it today here in Lone Canyon on the Colorado Plateau. Here are all the transparencies I made of this scene. I also have Ektar color negatives of the sunlit scenes, since the contrast is higher, but no need to do that for the rest that were made in very soft light. These are similar to what I shot the first day on the Pentax digital camera, and in fact I've duplicated about all the scenes here that I made on the Pentax. This look was my original vision with the sunlit tree. I also like these with the glancing light on the side of the rocks. It just adds something extra. I feel certain with the Ektar and a nice scan, I could pull more detail out of the shadowed cliff. I also really like these now in the soft light. You can see the wider views with my 300mm lens, and then these up here are with the 450. I kind of like having a little more room and interest at the bottom here. It shows a little more of the setting and the surroundings. But I really like this one with just a little bit of rocks at the bottom. I think it makes a nice bottom end and shows the nice rock structure with both cracks and some of the curves in the wall, which are nice. But I also like this tighter view with the curved crack up here, which you get by tilting up and only showing a little bit of this rock at the bottom. You kind of lose that curve when I tilt down. So of the tighter ones, I like the ones with this curve. So I'll pick one of these and finish it and show it to you here, but that doesn't mean a month or two in the future I might not decide I'd like a different version a bit better. You can let me know in the comments what you think, and if you like one version better than the others. Now it's time to pack up and head for the hotel, and the light's about done for today, although I'll be driving over Boulder Mountain, and I found some really nice aspen on the way down here this morning, and so that's one of the reasons I'm here, is to photograph aspen on Boulder Mountain. So maybe I'll be able to do that on the way back if there's a nice soft light and no wind. Otherwise, we'll save those for another day. It's been a great day again here in Long Canyon, and got several nice setups, I hope. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.